What's up everyone, it's Trainer Dell, and in this video I have for you my Cyberdark deck profile. Love GX era. I feel like I have like 5 or 6 different decks from characters. Zane, I have 2 of them, so I have a Cyber Dragon deck, and then obviously right here, the Cyberdark deck. It was just a fun time and kind of weird, but I don't know, I've just been a fan of this deck. I really like the Hellkaiser. I've talked about this before, the Dark Zane stuff. And while the Cyber Dragons usually get good love and support, the Cyberdarks are still just, low tier, but just still a fun deck and a deck that I have close to my heart that reminds me of those times, the weird GX era times, because hero cards are still being printed and like a prominent deck still. But yeah, enough of just the intro. Let's get right into it. The Cyberdarks obviously have the same premise, at least the original monsters, where if this card is normal summon, you can select one level 3 or lower dragon type monster in your graveyard and equip it to it. This card gains attack equal to the equipped monster's attack, and they all have their own effects. So right here, Horn, which is, I've said this plenty of times, my favorite because it's the head of the dragon. This one does the piercing damage, so pretty cool. Edge is the one where it can attack your opponent directly, but the damage is halved. In Duel Links, oh man, in Duel Links I would say this one's my favorite because you're pretty dumb with it. Cyberdark Keel, when it destroys a monster by battle, then you inflict 300 points of damage. So the least one, but there's those times like I said, and still where it's like cause burn damage to your opponent, and I'm like, cool, I got Keel. So they released this legacy support, which was pretty cool. Needed one more thing, but I think this was a really cool card. Just a dragon, level 3 dark. And you can send this to the graveyard to add one machine type Cyberdark monster from your deck to the hand. So you can discard this to add any of these. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, when it's equipped to a monster, you draw a card. That's pretty cool. The secondary effect is alright, where it's basically a foolish burial during the damage calculation. When the monster equipped with this card battles, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. So if you want to fill up the graveyard, you're welcome to. Cyberdark Claw. It has the effect where if this is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target one Cyberdark monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So you can kind of recur any of these back. And it's good that it goes back to the hand, so you can normal summon it and then re-equip this. You can target this card, add one Cyberdark spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, and still no Cyberdark trap card, but it's alright, we got Cyberdark spells. This secondary effect is better, I think, than the first one, which is during the damage cal, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So you can set up for the fusion plays. But there's also other cards that you would want to send there for advantage. I'm playing Black Salvo right here. Just as a tuner, you can special summon any dark level 4 machine type, so the original Cyberdarks from your graveyard, face up defense, and negate its effects. But that's fine because you just want to use it to basically synchro summon, or you can even link. Ling Ling right here, just a good one-off. I'd play 2 before, but it's just kind of sometimes dead in your hand. It's good just to send to the graveyard or use with Union Carrier, but it makes the monster equipped with it, its original attack becomes 1,000, and it can make a second attack. So that's really cool because then any of these become a 25 beat stick that can attack twice. And I am also playing 2 copies of DD Crow. If you want to bump it up, bump it up. I just have really tight space in this deck, so just running the 2 just to hit stuff in the graveyard, and the whole deck is dark, so if you want to switch it out because you don't care about that philosophy, you can put in Ash Blossoms to stop your opponent from, it's the hand trap of hand traps. But I just like it because it's more allure targets. 1 Overload Fusion for starting off with the spells. It's just here to basically go to Cyber Darkness Dragon, to be honest, because I have Cyberdark Impact here for Cyberdark Dragon, where you can fusion with Cyberdark Dragon using a Horn, Edge, and Keel from your hand, graveyard, or anywhere on the field. On your field. So I wonder why it means anywhere. Can it be in like the spell and trap card zone somehow? I guess. Cyberdark Inferno. Just 2 copies. I was running 3 for the longest, but I just took one out because although I do like pitching Claw to send it to the graveyard and getting this, I just feel like 3 is a brick. You don't really need the third one. Mostly, I found myself never needing it. But I couldn't go down to 1 because if 1 somehow got destroyed, then that's going to be a bad time because its effect is really cool where Cyberdark monsters or Cyberdark effect monsters you control that are equipped with an equip card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and your opponent can't target them. So they have to, run it over with battle. And you can target a Cyberdark monster you control and return it to the hand. Then immediately after this card resolves, you can normal summon 1 Cyberdark. So that's really cool because if, 1 loses its equip, you can return it or whatever, then normal summon it again, and then re-equip a card. So it's pretty cool. And if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can add 1 polymerization spell or fusion spell from your deck to the hand. So just cool. I only really run these 2, so that's why I didn't need a third one. 3 Called by the Graves because you kind of have to get your card effects off, and there's so much searching in this deck. It's a slow deck, so you don't want to try to do your 1 search and get stopped, and now you're like, it's better to have Call by the Grave than not have it. 3 Duality, just because this deck, although there are ways to special summon stuff, you don't really go for the special summon. So you just use this to dig deeper into your deck and hopefully normal summon or get one of these to pitch, whatever you need. So yeah. 2 Super Polys. This is just a just in case factor. And that's like just in case, if you could push for game, it's really good. You have it. You have this ability. And yeah, if not, you can hopefully break a board or something. My 2 Allures. Just here. Like, they're all dark, so like I said, this deck's not fast, so just something else to help speed up the deck. And 1 Foolish Burial, just to dump one of the Cyberdarks if you don't really, or any of the Cannon or Claw if you don't draw into it. Just because you're really reliant on that equip. So I only run 6 traps. I feel like I could run more. You can take out the Super Polys, the Allures, and add in more Floodgates. And that's definitely something I'm thinking about doing. But for right now, I'm still playing with this. Solemn Judgment. I was running Strike for the longest, but Judgment in here is just much better. You need to protect through spell and trap cards, because monster effects you can sometimes get through with negating if you have Cyber Darkness or whatever. And Call by the Grave. So sometimes the monster effects don't really hurt you as much. But if you want to run more, like if you want to take out the Super Polys, maybe side them, and then put in strikes, that's still really good. And then there can only be 1. This card is definitely MVP. Each player can only control 1 monster of each type. If a player controls 2 or more monsters of the same type, they must send some to the graveyard so they can control no more than 1 of that type. You're usually just sitting on 1 Cyberdark monster in this deck, and so, usually that's good enough. And there can only be only 1 just helps stop your opponent from going off. With the extra deck, we'll just kind of breeze through this quickly. Cyberdark Dragon, finally glad to get an ultra rare. I've seen the prices on the ultimates and but you can get a dragon type monster in the graveyard and equip it to this card. It gains that much more attack and 100 for each card in the graveyard. If it's destroyed by battle, the equipped monster is destroyed instead. It's alright, very kind of basic. Nothing really too special about this one, but it's iconic to me. Cyber Darkness Dragon. This one has 2,000 attack and uses 5 Cyberdark effect monsters, and it must be first fusion summon. And then if this card is special summon, you can equip 1 dragon or machine type monster from your graveyard to this card, and so that's cool because it's dragon or machine type. And it gains attack equal to the original attack of the equipped monster. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send 1 equipped card you control to your graveyard, negate the activation if you do destroy this card. Sometimes I also want to add in like Moon Mirror Shield or something, or Overdone Burial, but it's alright. it'll do what it needs to do. You don't really go for these. They're just plays to have in the deck. 5-headed dragon just like that. You can just dump it and maybe equip, but you don't really need to. Chemuraphlasia, the predator plant, when it's into the graveyard, which you can do with Claw. Basically, you can add a Polymerization or Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand, and that's the next standby phase after it's sent. So, I'm pretty sure it gets Super Poly, but you can grab Overload Fusion. You can definitely grab that. And Tis, and I feel like I had more, but I lent it to a friend or sold them. I can't even remember, but definitely I would probably remove this for this card. And that's because, you can send this with Claw and just pop any card on the field. I believe target one card on the field, destroy it. Yeah, if it's sent to the graveyard. Or I'll just take this one out, but it's alright. Mud Dragon, these are the Super Poly targets. Mud Dragon, Dragostapelia, Venom Fusion. Got Black Rose for a Black Salvo target if I want to blow up the field, and then if I have to go into the play of Cyberdarkness, it's just at least something to equip if I don't have anything else. But I also have Clear Wing Synchro. Just, an alright card to have. Right here, Quasar and Shooting Star. Another cards to send to the graveyard. You want to send Quasar and then equip it with however way with any of the two other fusions. And if it's sent to the graveyard, then you're able to get out Shooting Star. So it's just a little wombo combo. And for the links, playing Union Carrier, and this card has been super helpful. So basically, this card can't be used as a link material the turn it's link summon, which is totally fine. But you can target one face-up monster you control and equip one monster from your hand or deck with the same original type or tribute, which Ling is dark, so it can go to any of the Cyberdarks. And the equipped monster gains 1,000 attack points. So that's really cool, just because it becomes, instead of a 25, a 3,500 attacker. And, you can attack twice, so sometimes 7k, still pretty good. He does a lot of damage. Right here, Witch's Apprentice. I don't know if this deck doesn't really spam or anything like that, but, sometimes you're able to get this and that and everything else out. And then you could, that's 4,000 damage that it can attack twice, but not really. It's just there because it's obviously dark support. And then Unicore. It's Unicore. If you can shuffle something back to your opponent's deck, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's my Cyberdark deck. Let me know what you think. And would you trade out would you put in more Floodgates? I feel like the Super Poly is fine for breaking boards, but I feel like maybe with the slow game of this deck, maybe more traps are a little bit better. Alright, thanks for watching. Peace.